You're listening to episode 50 on the Air Hug Community Podcast. Hello and welcome. My name is Judy Arizosa and I am the host of the Air Hug Community Podcast. And if you're new here, let me just tell you what we're all about. We are a community that believes supporting each other can be wonderful and it helps improve the lives of others as well as our life. We believe in living well, and that includes physical fitness, eating well, but also mental fitness. We believe that movement should be fun and that eating to live better should also be fun and delicious. We have conversations and stories from guests and myself that are often inspired by the thousands of conversations I've had one-on-one with working with women over the last dozen years, but also with conversations with several of my besties with our one-on-one walks that we love to take together. So have a listen, and I'm really glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining in. Hey, welcome back to the Air Hug community. I've got something to share today, and it's based on questions I've gotten because a lot of people have asked me how all these years I have maintained my fitness level and what have I done. And so I have 3 favorite apps that I rely on to help me. And I know, you know what, there's an app for everything, right? And not every app is going to work for every person, and there's other versions of these 3. But today I want to talk about my 3 favorite apps for maintaining healthy behaviors. So, all right, let's get right off going. The first one is called MyFitnessPal. And lo and behold, most people at this point in time have heard of them. MyFitnessPal originally was a free app, but it was bought out by, who was it bought out by? Now I gotta look. It's either Reebok or Under Armour. One of these. Isn't it funny that I don't know, but I look at it every day? Well, so much for labeling, right? Anyways, I think it's Under Armour. MyFitnessPal is basically a nutrition diary. And why I think it's awesome is because it helps us get honest. It helps us get honest with our portion control, which is really, I think, the root of a lot of our problems. Because what we do as human individuals is overestimate our energy expended on exercise, and we underestimate our energy that we take in as food. And so MyFitnessPal, for years and years and years, decades actually, and it's come a long way since the beginning, the database has grown immensely, has really been my standby. It's my gold standard for keeping a diary and maintaining. It really helps me to get honest with what I'm eating. And the times that I don't use it, I will be honest, are the times that I have strayed off. And when I get a little too big for my britches, as I have done in the past, and think that I don't need to weigh and measure my food, those are the times where all of a sudden, before I blink my eye, 5 to 7 pounds have crept on. And I know when I get into that range that I haven't been honest with myself, and it's time to get back to it. And honestly, anytime that has ever happened, it's when I've stopped weighing and measuring my food. And by the way, I'm going to get off on a little tangent here because I'm wondering if this would be a nice topic to talk about if you think it's necessary to weigh and measure your food. I'm going to tell you right now, if you want the results that you desire, I think it's necessary. Now, the intuitive eating police would probably arrest me and throw me in jail for this, but let me just tell you, I've been on this earth for 60 years. I probably went on my first diet, the old 1,000 calorie diet that I asked my mother to help me with when I was 14. And it's not the type of diet or whatever, it's the willingness to actually be able to do it. And of course, we talked about readiness. But if you really want to get honest with yourself, you actually have to know what you're putting in your mouth, okay? You can't just say, oh, that looks like, 4 ounces of meat. Anyways, there are other ways to do it. For me, I feel like weighing and measuring is the only thing that has given me success. There's also the fist method, and I will help people with that, but I just don't believe for many of us who tend to have addictive personalities that that's the way to go. But that's a totally other topic. So let's talk about the cons and the pros of using MyFitnessPal, because there are plenty of apps out there that will help you log your food. They will give you the carb count, protein count, fat count, all the nutrition information. You can track things like sodium and other minerals and vitamins and fiber. And fiber, by the way, is a very important one to keep track of as well. So the cons, I'd say the advice given out by MyFitnessPal is very canned. As far as calories go, it's very generic, and I would absolutely not follow it. They also have a little statement when you complete your diary, and a little thing pops up and it says, if you ate like this every day for X number of weeks, your weight would be this. And that's just a forecast. And I think you should not, I think, if you want to look at it and be like, basically, if I were consistent, I would be doing better. But the way that they come up with these predictions for knowing exactly how you're going to what you're going to weigh after this many weeks or days is really hogwash, so I would ignore that. So some of the foods are not verified, so you can add a food to the database and you can call it anything you want and give it any value you want. It doesn't mean it's true. So I usually look for two things to see if my food is actually verified. There's a little green verification, I think sticker or arrow that will go after a food, and that's like maybe a food that is put out, like, for example, let's say you just take like green bean frozen broccoli, that's verified through the company that makes it, then it is what it is, basically. The other thing is I will also look for when I put a food in, let's say I want to put in raw broccoli. I'll put in raw broccoli and I'll follow it by USDA, because there are several entries in the database at this point that are from the USDA food database, and just it's consistent. Is it perfect? No, but it's consistent and it's the one that I follow, so I will look for that. So if you can do that, you can get around the fact that some of these people versus Mary Beth's green beans. Well, what are Mary Beth's green beans? We don't know. Mary Beth knows. So, and the other thing is you can get a little too obsessed over the calories, and that's not really what this is all about. And again, following a rough calorie template is fine, but when we start to get too nitpicky about it, we can get obsessed. And if you're, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. Okay, what about the pros of MyFitnessPal? Well, it really helps with realizing portions. It helps you get honest. And then there's a premier plan that helps if you count macros. I do count macros. That's another story, again, whether you want to do that or not. You can count macros without the premier plan, but the premier plan makes it so much more reliable. All right, there's also a barcode scanner. So let's take that packet of frozen broccoli again, maybe by Green Giant. You can scan the barcode and it will come up. So that would be a verified food. That's great. You can also save your favorite foods, meals, and recipes for easy repeat. So for me, for example, I almost always eat the same breakfast. Breakfast for me is one of two options, but one of them I eat literally 90% of the time. And there's a little thing that you could put in that lets you choose, repeat the meal from the day before. Swipe, it's done. That is so easy. So it's Quick Copy, I think it's called. I just find MyFitnessPal to be so great for managing portions, for managing if you're doing macro counting or if you have a food template and you want to follow it. It's really great for helping to keep you honest and follow it and to minimize decisions. One of the things that I like to do is reverse engineer my day. So the thing that varies quite a bit, but still I keep it simple depending on the season. During weekdays, it may only vary a little bit. Maybe I have like 2 weeks worth, but dinner. So I'll put dinner in first. Maybe it's going to be, and again, let's use a very simple example. Maybe it's going to be roasted chicken thighs that I've only added spices to, maybe a little nonstick spray. Maybe it's going to be frozen broccoli and then a salad with maybe, baby greens, and a few other little vegetables. And then maybe a homemade dressing, with olive oil and vinegar. Boom. I can put that all in. Then I can see, basically what macros I have left the rest of the day. I also work by a template. So I have certain amounts of carbs at different times of the day, and my Fitness Pal can actually help me keep honest with that. It helps to minimize decisions and make things go a little bit more seamless and smooth. It really actually even helps with meal planning. So you can just kind of plan ahead, pop it in, and then go from there. So that was number one. Number two is called Tabata Pro, and we're moving now from the kitchen into the gym. The Tabata Pro is a workout timer. There are a number of workout timers. Again, this is the one I've been using most often for, I think, over a decade at this point. And I love it because it helps with work to rest ratios, and it also has a preparation area. So here's the thing. You can set the timer for a preparation phase, and then a work phase, and then a rest phase, and then you can repeat that cycle as many times as you want. So obviously it's great for things like sprints and high intensity interval training. But did you know you can actually use it? Let's say you're lifting heavy and you want to make sure you get enough rest and not too much rest. A lot of times when you want to get enough rest, the temptation would be to go check social media on your phone. Before you know it, 5 minutes have gone by. So you could set the timer for, say, 3 minutes work, and listen to this, a 0-minute rest. So at the beginning of every work cycle, every 3 minutes, you would start a set. Let's say you're doing bench press. So you would get ready. You would be doing your bench press, maybe with your dumbbells lying flat on a bench. You're going to do maybe your 8 reps. You're going to put the weight down. You went really heavy. Maybe you're only doing 6 reps. I don't know. And then you rest for the rest of those 3 minutes. If you're lifting heavy, you do want to rest between 2 and 3 minutes a set, and this is a great way to do it. So you can set it for even one exercise. Sometimes you might be doing things like supersets where you're doing 2 exercises. So again, you might set it for every 2 minutes and also alternate, on the odd minutes you're doing exercise A, on the even minutes you're doing exercise B. You can do so many different combos, and a lot on our membership, we sometimes will do up to 5 exercises and do a circuit. And again, allow in enough rest. You can either set the rest period or you can set a very long work period, do a specified number of reps, and then rest. There's so many things you can do with Tabata Pro. I literally use it every single week and have been for well over a decade. So I apologize for that noise. Apparently my family is doing a lot of dinging right now. Family chat, you gotta love it, right? Okay. I think I got the whole thing set with Tabata Pro. Okay, number 3. This is a different one. For several years, probably since like 2013 or 14, I wore a Fitbit, or I used the health app on my iPhone. And basically, I have to say, I'm over it. Fitbit was great, and it does give your steps and estimate lots of other things. But, the plus minus on accuracy, from what I can tell, is about 1,000, which is not a big deal. It's just, an app to keep you active. But I didn't like wearing a big clunky watch, like when I exercised or was sleeping. I found that certain kettlebell moves were awkward to wear something on my wrist. The Apple Watch just was overwhelming to me. Again, I don't like to use the calories that these apps talk about. And so I came upon something else called the Aura. Now, I will tell you, if they had an affiliate program right now, I would be an affiliate for it. But I'm not an affiliate for it. I believe their affiliate program has ended already, but I still think it's a fabulous app, and I will tell you why. Okay, so number 1, you wear it on one of your fingers, not your wrist, which is really nice for not bumping things on your wrist. But the reason for this is that it picks up its signals from the arteries on your back of your finger in the palm of your hand, which is much larger than the wrist capillaries, and it's a little more accurate because that watch often moves around a lot, whereas the ring does not. It's a more precise measurement. It also follows your skin temperature better, and it gives you a lot more information. It uses infrared light versus the green LED light that most of the other wearables that you wear on your wrist use. And these sensors are more similar to those used in hospital grade devices. So we're talking about another level of accuracy, which I think is fabulous. It does measure temperature directly from the skin and gives us a lot of information. It's really interesting for nighttime. It actually measures your temperature every minute all night long, and it shows the change from your baseline. What I like most about the Aura is the information it gives you about sleep. And first of all, their accuracy in measuring sleep, it's validated against the Sleep Lab gold standard, which is called the polysomnography, PSG. So the Aura was found to provide unbiased and relevant data on sleep patterns. And as you know, I've talked about this, I touched on it in a few episodes, but sleep, and by the way, we have a sleep episode coming up, so stick around, but it's not going to be for a while yet because we have an expert coming in and we're waiting for that person to be ready. But anyways, sleep is just something I think we undervalue and think that we can't change and improve on. And since I've been wearing the Aura and getting feedback, my sleep has definitely been better. I'm becoming more aware. I'm doing things like not going on my phone as much right before bed, trying to avoid, those lights that actually stimulate our brain too much before sleep. So working on winding down. But anyways, there are some cons, as with all these devices. Again, the calorie recommendations, to me, I would not pay attention to them because, I don't know, it's just, they're all estimates and I don't like that. Again, it's more of a canned response. So another con is that it's a little wider than a wide wedding band. For me, it's not an issue. I will either wear it on my thumb or forefinger, which I find to be more comfortable than wearing a wrist thing. Plus, I like to wear a nice watch, and I didn't really consider a Fitbit or Apple a nice watch, so it's just personal preference. But these devices and these apps, this device particularly, is something that really helps me. Even the other two apps as well, they help us practice healthy behaviors more consistently, more seamlessly, and with less resistance. Are they necessary? Well, for me, I consider the MyFitnessPal app to be a necessary part of my ongoing consistency. You can decide for you if you think it is or not. I think it is. For some people, it might just be convenient. It might just make them better. But for me, I find it has a lot to do with my quality of life and how I just feel about following my healthy behaviors. So the Tabata timer, literally, I use it multiple times a week for many, many different ways. Like I said, not just for sprints or high intensity interval training, for other things like helping to pace ourselves with heavier workouts. And sometimes I know when I get to the end of my workout and I'm tired and I might have a finisher, I've got one more heavy exercise to do and I just don't want to do it, I will put the timer on, because if the timer's on, I will do it, and I will start when it says to start and I will rest when it's time to rest. And before I know it, I'm just focused on doing it and the time flies by, whether it's, a 5-minute segment, a 3-minute segment, or a 10-minute segment. But I find it really helps. The Aura, I would say the value I get from the sleep information alone is worth it. It can be a little pricey. It might be something great that you may want to put on your wish list or ask for, for your next birthday or special occasion, or it might be just something you save up for yourself because, hey, you're worth it. But I do find the Aura to me, it's next level up from, and I know some people will disagree with me, but it's next level up from the other wearables that go on your wrist. So who knows, maybe it'll get smaller. Some people will wear it. I won't take my wedding ring up, but I think some people will wear it where they wear a wedding ring. I kind of like it on my thumb and index finger. The thumb is the least bothersome place, and I find that it gives me very accurate results. And it charges very quick. That's the other thing. It charges quicker than all the other wearables. But anyways, the thumb I really like so that when I'm lifting weights, I find it does not get in the way. kettlebell swings, kettlebell presses, Turkish get-ups, all sorts of pole moves. Wearing it on my thumb makes it, I can even do pull-ups and chin-ups in it. It just doesn't seem to bother me that much. So not as much as, I was always taking the Fitbit on and throwing it in like the ankle of my pants because I was like, I didn't want it to get in the way and that kind of thing. So I just really like it. So Aura, if anyone who works for Aura or whatever is listening, if you ever do an affiliate program again, I would hop on. But listen, I'm telling you about this and I'm getting no compensation or anything from these 3 apps. I just think they're really awesome. And hey, whatever we can do to stay more consistent, why not? We can be in our corner. So MyFitnessPal is free unless you want the premier version. Tabata Pro, I think, was a one-time purchase. It cost like nothing. Either it was $1.99 or I don't know. It was, at the most it might have been $9.99, but I bought it so long ago I don't remember. I really feel like it was like $1.99 or something. The Aura can be expensive. I think it's in the $300 range. I really think they do go a long way to help with consistency, and so I hope you found this helpful. All right, hey, what about motivation? If you are struggling with motivation or periodically you need a little motivation tune-up, you can grab my free motivation masterclass. I'll put it in the show notes. It's a free training. Feel free to grab it. It talks about how motivation can be cultivated and what you can do to work on it. And just know that some days you're going to be motivated more than others. And if you can kind of refer back to the points in this masterclass to learn about how you get through those times when your motivation does wane. And by the way, remember, you don't have to exercise every single day of your life or every single week. Yes, you need to be consistent. And again, we shoot for 80 to 90% consistency. But if you go on vacation and all you want to do is walk or take a week off, and then you get back and you're recharged and you're consistent for the next 4 or 5 months, it's a win-win situation. So don't fret it. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, I would appreciate any and all reviews that you put on Apple and ratings and subscriptions. Have a great day, and I will see you next Tuesday here on the Air Hug Community Podcast.